What's up, Onyx? So guess who we found outside? He's banging on the door. Hey, let me in. So we found Mr. Chris Mulliens, and he is here today. He's going to share with us his candidacy.
Yes.
Everything that he has going on for Richmond County. And we are just excited to have him here, have somebody here, you know, that's in the political arena that can talk a little bit deeper about it. And then pretty much from there. But before we get into everything, just tell us a little bit, you know, about yourself, Mr. Mulliens.
Well,
who you are, where you came from. I ain't never heard of you, brother. I was messing with you.
See, that's that Marine stuff I keep telling y'all about. I apologize, y'all. This is a Marine guy, and I'm an Army guy, so I have to make fun of him sometimes. But we all brothers in arms, so. My name is Christopher Mulliens. I'm from the beautiful city of Jacksonville, Florida. I was actually stationed here in Augusta, Georgia at Fort Gordon, Fort Eisenhower now. And I came here in 2014, got out the military in 2019 and stayed here. I run the Freddie Mae Foundation. We help men who've been abused, battered, addicted to drugs and alcohol, and we aid their children. And we do mentorship as well. I was a former president of the Augusta Richmond County Public Library System. So for everybody out there, if you are wondering about your play cards that your children have, that was partly due to me and my administration at the time that we were able to implement that when we saw a need for a relationship with the school library.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the library system and the school system. And we brought that together to say, hey, why don't these kids have access to the library like this? When you go to other areas and states and other countries, the library and the school system have a symbiotic relationship. Right. So we brought that to fruition. So now about 35,000 students have a play card, which is digital. And so they're able to access all information from the library, including online. So
that's awesome.
And I mean, it's just so many other things. I mean, I'm working on my doctorate degree in education and innovation and leadership. Yep. I will actually be receiving an honorary doctorate in June of 2025 because of my humanitarian work with the Freddie Mae Foundation. Nice. I appreciate it.
Very nice.
And last but not least, you know, this is near and dear to my heart. Hey to all my bus drivers out there. I'm a former bus driver. During the time where we were down like 65 bus drivers about 2-3 years ago, somebody said, hey, you know, we need some people.
Right.
I went ahead and I said, I got my let me go get my CDLs. Got my CDLs and started driving. Wow. I was driving for Glen Hills Middle, T.W. Josie, C.T. Walker, and Wilkinson Gardens. So, I mean, I understand the struggle.
That's
so,
awesome.
To all my bus drivers out there, I appreciate y'all. It's still Bus Driver Appreciation Week. Y'all tell y'all bus drivers thank you.
Yes, that's grassroots. I like that. Yeah. That's grassroots. How many kids you put in the headlock?
So I can't say this. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. I love all my students. I loved all my students.
Awesome. So tell us So tell us what's the responsibility of a District 5 Board of Education official? What's the weight of a responsibility of that type of position? Oh man,
the weight is really great. So I tell people, you know, we have to be mindful who we put in there. It means a lot because the board has a lot to cover when it comes to our children.
Right.
So with that being said, you know, I always try to tell people I know some things, I don't know everything.
Right.
But you know, just knowing the responsibilities, like for instance, the board has the responsibility to hire and fire, change pay. They have the ability to rent out, lease, acquire, repair, maintain school buildings, the exercise to acquire land, to appoint and remove the superintendent. Because I know you had superintendent on that first. I was going to tell you, you know, the board has coverage over that. Right. If they feel the superintendent isn't doing justice for the school system, they have the authority to hire and fire the superintendent and appoint a new superintendent. Superintendent. Fixed compensation. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the course of study for each classroom and grade. The board has a lot to do with it on top of when we start thinking about, and that's just some of them and the responsibilities. But when you start thinking holistically about everything, the board really controls what businesses come into the city. I remember when I first got to Fort Gordon, well, excuse me, for everybody, all the new people, Fort Eisenhower. Us old people, we say Fort Gordon.
We gonna say Fort Gordon.
Yeah.
But it should be Fort Eisenhower.
So when I got to Fort Gordon, I remember coming from Germany, and it was then Specialist Mullins. They said, hey, Mullins, you know, if you got any kids, take your kids over to Columbia County. And I was like, why?
We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot.
And I'm going to get into the backstory of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I thought about that and I started doing some research, and really the school system, if you start looking at how and where businesses go, they never put a business or a Fortune 500 company in places where the school system is doing bad. And I always thought about that and wonder why everybody else around us is growing and Augusta's not.
Right.
It's growing. Let me not say it's not growing. It's slowly growing. But you see Columbia County, you see Grovetown, everybody moving
wildfire.
out. Right.
Yeah.
And I started wondering about that, but we got to start thinking about the school system.
Right.
And the school system has a big role to play when it comes to that. And I'm like, that's why businesses are kind of slowly trying to move in or have a hesitation about moving in, because a lot of times they focus on the school system. Nobody wants to come down from Washington, D.C., from California, or from any other place and say, hey, I'm going to put my child, I'm following my business, I'm following my job, but guess what? The school is terrible, so most times they move out to Columbia County or they move out somewhere else.
And not to cut you off, but as a licensed realtor, I notice it affects the values of homes as well.
Does.
Right.
It does, and I don't think people understand that. Like, people are now up in arms about the millage rate.
Right.
You know, it's going up to 13.88%. And if you don't mind me taking a little tangent.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you're a subject matter expert, Shmee. So with that millage rate, I was telling people that we have to be mindful, because anybody who is not 65, if I'm not mistaken, normally is exempt. Once you get past 65, you're exempt from paying the school taxes or whatever. But everybody below that, you're still paying into it.
That's correct.
Now, if you don't own your own home, and I want you to tell the story after I tell it, tell me if I'm lying, and tell people out there if I'm lying.
Okay.
But if you don't own your own home and they increase the millage rate, that means your mortgage is potentially going to go up.
Yes.
Because what happens is you have your escrow pays into your insurance, and it pays into your taxes that your taxes at the end of the year for your home. And what they do is they divide it up by 12 months in a year, and since it's going up, now you have a potential of your mortgage going up.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And nobody wants to pay more taxes. You know, the only reason I've ever said that I would be cool with paying more taxes if it was very transparent, I knew where those dollars were going. And I think,
agree.
You know, when we vote on things like, you know, SPLOS and other things, the 1% increase, you know, if I can, defiantly see exactly where it's going, then I'm cool with it.
Right.
But it's the creeping taxes, and you're not seeing the improvement of the community around.
Right.
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah.
And you know, this not only impacts homeowners as far as like, and you know, a lot of our teachers are homeowners. So, you know, that tax is supposed to go to helping for the increase of pay for teachers.
Right.
But then you think about it, you increasing the taxes, you're increasing their pay, but you're still increasing the homeowners stuff, and that mortgage is still going up. So it's almost like,
Yep.
And truth be told, Augusta really hasn't seen a huge growth in income in the past maybe 5 to 10 years, I believe. Right. And so that has an impact on how everything is
absolutely.
fit. You know, and even our senior citizens, they're going to feel it, because if they're on a fixed income and they haven't seen an increase.
That's correct.
So I thank God, because not to sound braggadocious, but you know, we have benefits.
That's right.
If it wasn't for our benefits plus working,
that's right. We'd be suffering. Yeah, we'd be suffering. Yeah, and I've been there before, because I haven't had benefits forever.
Right.
I just acquired getting some benefits a couple years
ago. Right.
So yeah, it's tight out here. Yeah.
And I'm sorry for going intended, but you know, I know a lot of people, you know.
We're all passionate about that. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, if you had to name top 3 issues in our current education systems that you like to see change, what would they be? I'm pretty sure you got more than 3. But
I do. I left them in the car, but I have a stack of 3x5 cards because what I did was I had a sit-down meeting with the teachers. Mm-hmm. When I tell you they wrote so much stuff on there, so much stuff. I'm not going to describe who the teachers were. It was all anonymous that I got them cards. I said anonymously, give me your ideas, your thoughts, and the problems that you see in the school system. And I said, again, this is going to be anonymous. It's so many issues that I could tap dance on right now. Right. But for me, when I looked at them, one of them is visibility. Mm-hmm. I ask a lot of teachers, principals, some know, some don't. I ask community members, I ask community activists, hey, who's your board of education member? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So that makes me think, if we really are talking about reforming and changing the school system, the visibility portion is a lot. It means that you're not going out to talk to your community.
Right.
And one thing that I know about Augusta that I cannot stand is the cliques. And I think we have to get far from that. We have to allow people to know that we are accessible as leaders. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody calling me at 6 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday, but I mean, at the same time, people have to understand we are human beings.
Yeah, you need quality of lifetime.
Right, yeah. We have families, we have all this stuff, right. But knowing that your people are visible and that they're working for you means a heck of a lot, not just for, your teachers, not for just for your bus drivers, not just for your admin, but the community. When they start seeing that you care about safety, when you care about the community's voice, right. When you care about the children that are being brought up in the school system, people will say, I know who my board member is and I'm proud of who that individual is. Right. That's just like having an absentee parent. When you don't have an absentee parent, when you have an absentee parent, like my father was not in my life how I wanted him to be. So when certain things happen or some people ask me some questions, I be like, I don't know that about my dad, So when people start talking about things, you be like, I don't really know that about my board member. I don't know what they're doing for the community. I just don't ever see them. Right. I just know we have problems and we can never get in touch.
Right.
And that's not good.
Nope.
So the visibility portion is huge in my book. The transparency portion, a lot of people want to know where the money is being spent.
Absolutely.
I asked this question to admin, to teachers, to community members. When is the last time you looked at the proposed budget for the school system?
And being able to see all the allocations here.
I'm like, do you understand where to go? Number one, it's over $389 million. Yeah.
That's just Richmond County Board of Education.
Richmond County Board of Education.
Wow.
So locally, it's about $112 to $115 million that they get locally. Mm-hmm. And then the other bit comes from the state, which is about 179, almost to 180 something million dollars.
Right.
So if you think about it, that's a lot of money out there. And people are like, well, they just opened this school and they closed this school and now they're building another school. We have to have transparency with our people because people want to know where the money's going. Like you said earlier, I wouldn't mind the 1 cent tax increase, which if you haven't voted, that is a thing on the ballot. They're asking about money for children, not just for the millage rate, right? But they're asking for that 1 cent tax increase as well. So if you don't know about it, I would suggest y'all go read up on it and see what it's about. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that one. But to get back to what you were saying, just like you said earlier, we want to be able to see where our money's going. Right. And if the community is unsure about that, people are always going to vote no right. for newer taxes. Because most of us, if you don't know, the commission decided to say, no, we don't want to do the tax. They rolled back all that stuff.
Right.
It's almost like they don't put everything there on purpose so people automatically, oh shit, I don't want that. They don't fully put in detail what those funds will be used for. So people automatically think, oh, yeah, I ain't give y'all no more money. What y'all did with the last one I gave y'all?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
And then, my third thing is this curriculum. Our kids are not learning. I talked to a retired or semi-retired teacher today, and she looked at me and she was like, Mr. Mullins, and I said, if I'm telling a lie, please tell the devil to shut up. She looked at me, she said, you ain't telling no lie. The curriculum we have is an issue because our kids are not learning. What we need to have is a comprehensive curriculum that includes not just black, not just white, but Hispanic, Asian, everybody in here, because people fail to realize that Augusta has a huge growing population. Like the last census in 2020, we noticed that, and I looked it up the other day, it's over 11,000 Hispanics in the community. But where's their voice?
Right.
Where's their seat at the table?
Right.
Our Asian crew, where's their voice? Where's their seat at the table? If you look on the board, we talked about this with the teacher today, and I talked to some of the Hispanic community. You don't see anybody on that board that represents the Hispanic community. You don't see anybody on that board that represents the Asian community.
That's interesting.
You don't see anybody on that board that represents anything other than black and white. And yet we are forgetting about bringing everybody in at the table and teaching everybody to catch everybody up.
Right.
Because it's not just the black kids that are failing, it's not just the white kids, it's a lot of our students in this system are having troubles. But my thing is the curriculum needs to be really geared towards making sure they have comprehension skills, making sure that they know mathematics, they know arithmetic. Well, mathematics and arithmetic are the same thing, but reading skills, right. As well as writing. A lot of these kids don't know how to write in cursive.
Right. Well, from my understanding, they're not taught to write in cursive anymore.
Yeah, it's like they don't teach it anymore.
I mean, this seems to be a problem that's, bigger than Richmond County. This is a society problem as far as education wise.
I agree.
So it seems to me like even with this, you want to take it on local, but it also seems like you're going to really be, pushing against the machine that's a society problem as well. So, I mean, your challenge with, redoing the curriculum, what is kind of like your fight on that? You think kids need to maybe learn different subjects or be taught different ways, or a little bit more clarity on that?
Like I said, I'm working on my doctorate in education. And so in my studies, we're learning that when you allow multiple subjects that kids are really interested in, not saying that, because nowadays, and I mean, don't get me wrong, nobody wants to hear Shakespeare all the time. Romeo. Well, I mean, that's cool, but the kids want something they can relate to. It's a way to be able to throw it in there and mix it in there with all of that stuff.
Right.
I think that we have to find a way that our kids can learn and make sure, because every kid doesn't learn the same way.
Absolutely.
And we are trying to mass produce education, and it's not working for our children.
Right.
Because our children now don't have the skills to even make it out of high school and to make it on their own. Can't count money.
Nope.
This Common Core math and some of the other stuff that's going on, I talked to some business owners. These kids get put on the register, these young children get put on the register, and if the register goes down, hey, can you count this money in your head? They can't even do that. I went to Wendy's probably about a month or so ago. Hey, don't talk about me. I like to eat. I do like to eat. I'm trying to lose this little baby as it is right now. So don't talk about me. But I went to Wendy's probably about a couple months ago, and my order came up to like $10.90 or something like that.
Right.
And I gave the woman $20.90 expecting to get full change. And she gave me the 90 cents back saying, here, sir. I said, no, baby. I'm giving you 90 cents so I can get
$10 back.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
But it's seemingly funny, but we have kids now, and I tell people we got to look at it. We're going to have at least 3 or 4 generations that are going to have non-employable working skills.
Ooh.
Unfortunately,
y'all let me know when I cut in.
Yeah, unfortunately, AI is going to take over a lot of that stuff.
Oh my God.
But see,
I mean, it's just like, I know, because I'm the same way. still think it's imperative that you learn the foundations.
Yes.
It's just like when I went to school, we had to know our 1 through 9, maybe up to 1 through 12 multiplication.
Yes.
You just memorize, right? And most people lose that after a while. You know what I'm saying? You put a person on the spot, 7 times 7 real quick.
49.
49. Some people
I ain't losing, y'all. I still got it.
Some people forget, and but those small things would pass over into other things, like counting money, for instance.
Right.
Like if someone gave me $30, $20 bills, I know off the top of my head that's going to be $600, easy, because it's 2 times 3 gives you 6, and then you put the other O's behind it. But
we think that's simple.
But unfortunately, what's going to end up happening is we're doing it now. We're going to self-checkout. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I don't know if society education feels like it's not an emphasis on that, so we're just passing kids. But I think it's going to end up hurting, in the long run. Yeah.
So my biggest thing with AI is that, and this goes into my conspiracy theory, and I'm not here to talk about this real quick, but the Matrix and Terminator and all of that talked about that in the 80s.
Right.
And when you see the inventions of Elon Musk and the Cybertrucks and all that stuff,
man.
and how the company hid when the robot, long story short, y'all, the robot actually had a conscience.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and they hid it. Mm-hmm. The guy was going down the line cutting the robots off, and the robot noticed that, man, he cutting all of them off, so he grew a conscience, and guess what? He attacked the worker in the Tesla plant.
Yeah.
And the people saw there was a line of blood leading to the guy, but they had to decommission the robot, all the other stuff, and it's just not coming out. But it's stuff like that we have to be mindful of.
Nobody has seen iRobot.
Right.
Like, hello?
It's in our face, but stuff like this, like education, and it's a smoke and mirrors. That's why I'm so big on really saying we need to educate our kids, because I'm an advocate. I went to FAMU. And people gonna hate on me when I say this. FAMU will always and forever be the number 1 HBCU, in my opinion. We were the number 1 HBCU when I was there.
Okay.
But FAMU, I went there and learned a great deal of information. And I'm just telling folks that we have to start getting to the basics again.
Right.
I remember going to school and just learning things. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a big proponent of going to a 4-year college. However, I always say that is not everybody's direct path.
Yeah.
Because I also believe that we need more trades.
We need way more trades.
Because I asked everybody, and people said, when we went through the hurricane recently,
Yes.
where did all the electricians, the contractors, the subcontractors come from?
Right.
Everybody said they either came from South, North, Atlanta, 3 or 4 states over.
Yep.
And I'm like, but when we look at the grand scheme of things, because we're not highly focused on that, we have some stuff. I'm not gonna lie, we have some stuff, but I think it's not emphasized enough. All that money that was spent paying the people to put the poles up, to put the electrical wire up, to go to people's houses.
Yep.
Guess where that money went? Out of Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about how much money was spent and what that could have possibly done to some of the younger students who could have been 18, 19, 20 doing these things with that money.
Yeah.
What it could have did to their family.
Right.
What it could have done to keeping money inside of Augusta.
That's right.
Spending money in Augusta, keeping the revenue in Augusta.
Yep.
Because not many people know Augusta. Oh man, see, we talking about so much, and that's why I say the school board is so important for everybody to understand this. But not many people know we get the money through the census. That's why it's so important for everybody to participate in the census. But that's how they allocate funds. Like, because I was, again, the library president, that's how they help allocate funds to the library. And they go through how many citizens you have, how many libraries you should have by a, can't remember the specific outline, but it's like a skeleton outline that they use to say, okay, well, if you have over 200,000 citizens, if you have over 300, if you have 1 million, this is how many libraries you should have.
Right.
And so that's why we have 6 branches, because we have about 202,000 citizens. But that's why I tell people we have to start paying attention to stuff like this. If our kids would have been able to do that, we would have been able to accomplish so much more keeping that money. I'm a big proponent, as well as Augusta Tech. Dr. World is such an amazing individual. He's doing a lot over there. And all of his staff, all of the teachers and professors over there.
Wow.
They have over 160 programs, if I'm not mistaken. 50 to 60 of those are actually free to people 55 and older, and then they have a spare program over there for special needs, and then they also have a bunch of trade programs over there as well. And I'm like, they're funneling some of the kids over there to Augusta Tech, but we need to do more. I mean, we have Payne College here. Now, I know everybody's gonna say, oh, Payne College, oh, da-da-da. But let's be clear.
We used to have Upward Bound with Payne College.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my thing.
Yeah.
We have Payne College, we have Augusta Tech, we have Georgia Military College, and we have Augusta University.
Yep.
4 schools. Right here. And most of the time, we're telling our children to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah.
We certainly are. Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I did the same thing. I grew up in Jacksonville, but I said, hey, I want a different experience away from family, which is cool. I went to Tallahassee. That was only about 2 hours away. But we have so many talented kids, so many talented students, but we are putting them at a disadvantage.
Right.
I'm gonna let you get to the next question.
You
I'm
good,
sorry.
you good. Take your time.
Because we having banter right now.
Man.
One of my students came up to me when I was driving the school bus. He left, came back, and I was like, you know, I called his name. I said, what you doing back? He said, what you talking about, Mr. M? I have a nickname, either in the military, I shouldn't be telling everybody this, but they used to call me Mully Mull back in the military.
Mully Mull.
Or they called me Uncle Mully, because they always said I was like that unclely, fatherly figure to a lot a
That's good. That's a compliment.
But then I was like, you trying to tell me I'm old? right. And I'm not old at all. But, you know, some of the kids would call me Mr. M or Mr. Mull, you know, and some of them say Mr. Chris. You know, as long as you throw that missed on, I'm good. I try to make sure y'all understand respect. But I was like, what you doing back? He said, man, I came back, I failed out of school. Like, why? I was not prepared to go beyond the doors of Richmond County school system.
Oh, man.
Ooh, whenever y'all, I let me know when I can cut in.
Go.
I had to
You want me to tag you in?
She was gonna get in one way or another.
So, what is your view on the difference between before the whole No Child Left Behind program and now? Like, because I was coming out of high school during this time. We've had programs that prepared us for life. We had critical thinking classes. We had home economics. We had, you know,
I had students tell me, they was like, Mr. Chris.
Motor T or whatever. Yeah, we had all that.
I had students tell me, we want home ec back.
Yeah.
We want things like that back.
Agriculture, teaching kids how to farm, you know, different things.
Leather shop,
checkbook,
carpentry,
you know, how to deal with credit.
Yeah, we had all that.
We went from teaching those critical skills, letting kids, you know, have recess for X amount of hours.
What does that board policy say?
It's testing, testing.
All right, I'm gonna read.
About the testing.
What does that board policy say?
I'm gonna read this board policy.
This is on Richmond County Board of Education website. Let me tell y'all, I know the system makes it hard for people to get on there and look for the policies, but I gave it to Donnie. I want him to read it because people will say, oh, well, he not telling the truth about this. No, this is on the Richmond County Board of Education website.
And it reads as, to establish and conduct classes in agriculture, textiles, and all other mechanical and industrial arts, home economics, vocational guidance, and commercial subjects, fine arts, evening schools, summer schools, and classes for adult education, other specialized courses, including but not limited to special education and classes for exceptional children.
And that says, where is it at? What does that say?
You talking about where it says original?
Right here.
Board. That's board policy ABB. Board. Yep.
Go ahead.
Powers and duties. Yep. That's it.
So this comes straight from off of their website. I think that we have to start really looking and diving back into stuff.
Yep.
I had it's just so many things on my mind when you say that, because I had a student yesterday, talked to her, wasn't in my district, but I talked to all the parents. I'm not gonna say what school she's going to, but they were telling me how, because the young child is smart, she's in the 4th grade, I mean, speaks very well, very well. Young lady, she was saying how the teacher was calling her fat, and they were doing all this other stuff, and how she was having issues with the curriculum and some other stuff. And I was like, but the people are saying it is an issue. The community is saying it's an issue. Why aren't we listening and doing something about it? You know, I've been saying for years, I applaud people for going to the nail techs, the cosmetology, but I am tired of hearing that's all we're offering, or that's all black folks are good for. We are more than just nails, hair, feet, all that stuff. I understand we do have some STEM stuff going on out there, but I would like to see more. I want to actually see us partner with some of the churches, because some of the churches do have some literacy programs out there. Why can't we have a huge community-wide literacy program where we're teaching these kids after school, things? I mean, there's so many things out here that I would like to see that the people are saying, and I feel like we need more parent advocates. By law, we should be having parent liaisons at every school, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Right. Because our parents are ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I'm talking about the actual definition.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody stupid.
They don't know.
They have a lack of knowledge.
Right.
That is why a lot of our parents are getting pushed around, because they have a lack of knowledge and they don't have an understanding of what the policies are, how they work, how they are implemented, and who they need to talk to get to some stuff. And then even that, we still have some outdated policies that need to be reworked, because it's 2024.
Right.
Some of them policies, 1978, 2009, we got to start revamping a lot of stuff to make it work for this generation.
That's right.
But I'm gonna step off my soapbox.
Oh, no. That's good stuff. Yeah, we love your passion. So as a District 5 elected official, we're going to go ahead and affirm that you're going to get elected. What would your first 30 days will look like?
It would be similar to what I said earlier.
You going to go in there like Joe Clark?
Not Joe Clark.
That's what we want to see. We want to see Joe Clark.
So somebody asked
me. One of my favorite movies, by the way.
And I love that because, I admire his passion. But somebody asked me about what would I do if they try to shut me down. It's about speaking the truth.
Right.
I think for far too long we talk about stuff, but then we sweep it under the rug.
Right.
I really want to get to the hooks and crooks of everything. Now, mind you, I always have to remind people, I would like our parents to be educated more about some stuff. Now, my biggest thing is visibility. I want to get with the principals. I want to get with the admin. I want to get with the teachers so they know who I am.
Right.
So they know that I'm working for them, because despite what everybody believes, the board is structured. Parents, Board of Education, Superintendent, and everybody else. And
on me, I ain't know that.
Yeah. The parents actually are the life and the breath of the Board of Education, but not many people understand the structure and how it is.
Though. Yeah.
And I try to look at it as linear, because Dr. Oni Post said this one day, and I was like, that's a great idea. Everything, when you start looking at it vertically and you look at it horizontally, it's a difference. Everybody's on the same platform, everybody's at the same level, and everybody's doing things to make the school system move forward.
Right.
And I think once we get our parents back in the school system, and this is one thing that I've learned in my doctorate degree, that we have to get our community back. The kids want to see us. I mentor a lot. My kids aren't perfect. Let's say that they're not perfect.
Sure.
No kid is.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. I remember, doing some things, but we have to get out the mindset that these kids are perfect.
I'm a Super C student. I'm gonna keep it 100.
We gonna get back to that one because I tell people all the time, I was not an A student, I was not a B student. I was a Super C student, but look at where I'm at now.
Right. That's right.
That's one thing I have an issue about the test scores, about the testing. Mm-hmm. We're teaching to a test, and studies have shown that Blacks, Hispanics, and brown people have the worst test scores. It is proven. It is proven. Mm-hmm. We have high anxiety when it comes to that. Yep. Like when I was taking my test, I would forget stuff. I'd be like,
Yeah.
However, when you look back over my life, I was a C student in high school. When I got to college, I was a C student, but I passed. My degree still say awarded a degree, Bachelor of Political Science from Dr. Ammons, James H. Ammons. It reads just as the other person do. I may not be magna summa cum laude, but it reads just like everybody else.
They don't put C on the diploma.
Thank you.
On the certificate.
Thank you. But I went on to get my master's, but I was I had like a 3.2 or 3.3, and now I'm working on my doctorate. I'm trying to, do better each time. I just feel as if I had a professor telling me at Tallahassee Community College, and it lives with me to this day. He said, Mr. Mulliens, he said it's not necessarily about you being able to regurgitate information. It's how applicable it becomes in your life.
That's right.
Meaning that how you apply it means a lot. Can you say, I learned this, or I learned, I went to wood shop, now I'm able to build a house. Or I went to electrical engineering school, now I'm able to actually draw plans for electrical engineering. It's how it's able to be applied, because anybody can go into class and say, it's A, it's B, or Romeo, where are thou from? Anybody could say that, but how does it apply to your life?
So truthful what you're saying, because I know we've all known people in our days, especially back in the day, that were illiterate but knew how to build houses.
Knew how to work on cars.
Knew how to work on cars. Knew how to run circles around me when it comes to mechanics.
Yes.
But couldn't read it, couldn't read a lick.
And I know y'all heard this before. Book smart, but street dumb.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I agree 100%. Which I remember Hillary one time running on, bringing trades back into this country. Mm-hmm. And is that something, that you are like a champion of, as far as children not just having the college option, but having a trade option?
Yes, I am. And I know we kind of offer that in Augusta. But from my experience, me traveling, and this is another thing I believe in, that we don't have all the answers in Richmond County.
Right.
I'm a proponent of going out, viewing the world, and seeing how we can bring back some ideas
that makes sense,
and tweak them to make it fit Richmond County. Because I'm a DOD contractor with the military. So I go out and I see, just like I did in the military, I go to different missions, I do this, and I see different things. Mm-hmm. I'm not in the same capacity of being in a uniform, so I have a little bit more freedoms. And I go to the school districts. I went to Texas, I went to Louisiana, I went to, I'm gonna go back home and go to Florida. I've been to other places, and I was in Romania, and even in Germany. When I was in Germany, I was stationed in Germany. What they have is, and I'm pretty sure you know where I'm about to go. Yes, by the time they hit 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, they already understand where that child is going when it comes to academics and when it comes to trade.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think if we get to that point, we won't be wasting time on trying to figure out where that child is going, why they're not doing this, why they're not doing that. When in Germany, they already have it structured out, and they say, hey, we understand academically you're not there, but we're going to give you the basics that you need to make sure you are sound with things.
Right.
But we're going to make sure that you go into a trade or some type of skill that you are really great at. Because a lot of our students here are actually good with their hands. They're very smart. Like I had a student, found the phone on my bus. I said, whose phone is it? Mr. M, I don't know. I said, well, put it up. They said, wait a minute. 5 minutes later, that child went in, they flipped, dipped, threw the phone up, did whatever, and they had the phone unlocked.
Yeah.
I said, how in the world you did that? Oh, I be watching stuff, and Mr. M, I be doing this, and I'm like, but
How old was this kid?
they had to be by, because it was by middle school, so it was at Glen Hills, by 14 or 15, and I'm like, if you can do this,
right,
but you having issues with your work,
exactly,
it don't make sense.
No.
Exactly.
A lot of these kids are absolutely, positively very smart. It's just that these test scores show them in a different light, which is so unfair. You know, when they start applying for jobs and the algorithms look at data. They don't see the person. They don't see who this person is, what they're capable of, personality, none of that. You know, this is a systemic society.
Right.
Yep.
We absolutely need some changes.
Yep. So my next question is Richmond County receiving enough support from the state of Georgia and federal government as it should be for the Board of Education? I mean, I know it's never enough money. Ain't nobody one ever said they got too much money. But is it enough support to get the things that need to get done to change?
So that's why I'm going to say, and one thing about the transparency, when you said first 30 days, I would like to see an audit done. To see what's going on. And I mean, we talk about these things. We have the dark language where we saying stuff but not saying stuff.
Right.
Let's do an audit. Nobody from this particular area has anything to do with it. Let somebody come out from New York or California or somewhere else where they have no skin in the game.
Right.
And tell us what's really going on, where the money really is, and you know, things of that nature. But I want to back that up, and I want to say that the support I really want to see is from the community. And as a
From within. Yeah.
Because as a person who wants to be on the board, that is my biggest thing, is making sure we get our parents back, making sure that we get our students, you know, re-engaged. Because I talked to a parent today, and I'm gonna tell you the school. She told me she's at Glen Hills Elementary, and she was just saying how nobody listens to her. Nobody listens to her, and I'm just thinking like, man. And she was spitting off information about her grandkids, and I'm like, you know all this, and she was just like, I just want to be an advocate for my kids and for other kids, and I'm just like, you know how powerful we could be if we start listening to the people in our community and actually embracing them. Now, I tell people, you gotta be mindful of going up to the school, hollering, cussing, and fussing. Now, granted, I know it's your children. But let's remember, we can't go up there unprofessionally because our children are watching.
Yep.
We can't go up there
and they're watching with a child's mind.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They watching what we wear.
Yeah.
They watching what we say.
Right.
Hand gestures and everything. I even had to get better at that with my mentees, because sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be saying certain stuff and I have to think, you know what? Hindsight 2020, let me do better, because I want them to know it's a better way of conducting yourself when it comes to being in places.
Right.
Even in your car. Because, you know, we all got a little road rage in this place. But, you know, I would like to see
some of us a little bit more than others.
I plead the fifth.
I'm just going to point behind the camera, y'all. Behind the camera. But I'm just going to say I would like to see more support from the community, because I think we have some phenomenal parents out there that really, really care. But it's about re-engaging people, re-engaging the community. Because, again, kids want us there.
Yeah.
They want us there. Despite how we always felt sometimes, oh, I don't want my mom and my daddy to be there. Like, it was times I felt like, my mom. But, you know, when I used to be in the band. I was in the choir. I was in the band. Shout out to the FAMU Marching 100, Hubba Dog. I was a part of Marching 100. So I tell all the people, I understand how it feels to be out on that field and you looking and you be like, man, where my parent at?
Right.
You know, the kids want that. They want to see their parent. They want to see their mentors out there. They want to see the board members. They want to see the superintendent. They want to see their teachers. Yeah, we may give, when we was growing up, we may have gave y'all a little bit of heck, but we wanted them there because we knew the ones that cared and that supported. And that was a great feeling to be like, oh, my mama up there in the stands.
That's right.
Even though she acting the fool, that's my baby, that's my baby. How can you see me out of 300 people?
Yeah,
But,
possible.
right. But your mom was like, oh, she could be like, I hear you, baby, I hear you, play that thing. You can't hear me over everybody else, but it's just knowing that your parent is there, you have your community to support you.
That's right.
Is a phenomenal thing. And that's why I'm so big on like, hey, community re-engagement. That's why for the first 30 days and for that question right there, I want to look at what can we do to get re-engaged in the support of our community back and their trust.
Would you invite, you know, once you get on the board, would you invite like outside mentors to come in for children?
Most definitely,
Yeah.
because my thing is, you said when I get elected, me being an elected official, I think we have to start giving our people platforms to talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's not done enough.
No.
Because in my 7 years of running the Freddie Mae Foundation, I've come across a lot of people who have said they tried to do this and they tried to do that with the system and they had a hard time, but I gave them kind of like backdoor ways to get in.
Right.
And they were able to get in and really change some of the kids' lives and even change the minds of some of the teachers. They was like, oh my gosh, we're so glad that these individuals came in. Like I work with a group called Manhood Tour.
Yeah, we know Aaron Kinson.
Yeah, and David Mew.
Yeah.
Listen, I told them to go to a particular school, right? And gave them some backdoor ways. And let me say this. So what I did was I created an email, and I have to send it out to some more organizations because they've been asking, where it has the links to it. Because what I found out on the website, on Richmond County's website, it is so hard to navigate through that website. Try to find the volunteer stuff, because I tell people all the time, when we were in the military, we would always teach and talk at an 8th grade level.
Right.
That's, if somebody did not finish school, 8th grade would probably be where it was, 8th or 9th grade. Even though I got all my education, which is fine for me, it's been times where I went on that website and I was like, I'm lost. So what I did was I gathered the information and I put all the direct links to the volunteer information, to the videos, to the tests, everything right in there. Awesome. So all you have to do is just go on there, read, take your test, and get certified as a volunteer. Because I think when people get bogged down with too much, people become disinterested.
Right. Yes, time.
Yes.
Right.
And so I helped some of the guys in Manhood Tour, which I appreciate them because they worked hand in hand with the Freddie Mae Foundation since they first started. And they were going around mentoring, and I was like, hey, make sure you guys, do this and do that. And I mean, when they go in there, the kids fall in love with them.
Awesome.
To have that representation, to see men that are doing something with themselves. I mean, retired chiefs, people who were in the military, people who have their own businesses, entrepreneurs. I mean, to see somebody who looks like you.
That's right.
Like David has his hair braided. I don't know if he has braided or twisted now, but to see somebody who has their hair nice, neat, and kempt.
That's right.
And be like, man, I want my hair to look like his so I can look like and have what he has.
And you have that same self-expression, not feeling like it's cookie cutter that
correct.
I have to put on a uniform, go to a job, so many other outlets that they can do,
And to know that you can take pride in yourself and have braids, have locks, have twists, to see that and still get the mentorship, man, I'm telling you, these guys go in there. If I wasn't running my own organization, I'd be like, sign me up for the Manhood Tour, because they are phenomenal. But awesome. They do some great things, and I just want to see stuff like that where they have a platform where they can come in and do some great things. And some other people out there who have phenomenal organizations and phenomenal ideas, it's time for us to listen and hear them. Absolutely. It's time. Because I'm going to tell you, don't get it twisted. Just because I want to be a board member, I don't have all the answers. That is why I always tell the parents, text me, call me. My number is 904-749-8774. Yes, that is a Duval County number, but that rings to my phone. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, oh, that really goes straight to your phone? Why not?
That's right.
If I'm talking about I've been in the community for X amount of years and I want to continue to be a community advocate, why would I send you to somewhere else?
That's right.
But that's a whole nother story for a different day.
All right, we're going to kind of bounce off of local a little bit. What's your outlook on this election coming up, just overall?
I'm gonna tell you.
I know you got your own candidates that's going, but you also have, you have the outside that's going on.
Yeah,
as well, so
I'm hopeful for everybody. I just tell everybody, and when I was at the Pink Palooza event today, and that was a phenomenal event today. That's why I was late, y'all. So please charge to me being out in the community. But it was a phenomenal event. I was able to talk to people. But I tell people when I was talking to them, and I've been saying this for years, don't just focus on Trump and Harris and Trump.
right.
Vote down the ballot.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
all the seats are up. Yeah.
Because what we fail to realize is that, like you said, all the seats are up. But what we do is we give way to people who don't need to be in there a way to get in, because we say, oh, I'm just worried about Harris and Trump.
Right.
That's all I'm worried about. But they don't affect local policy, local procedures, local matters.
There you go.
Your mayor, your commission, our council, wherever you stay at.
That's right.
Your board of education, your city director, admin, all of these people affect it locally.
That's right.
And we have to start voting all the way down the ballot, because again, it is just so imperative that we put the right people in the office. And I always tell people this too. When you are voting, whether you vote for me or not, which I hope all y'all do, I tell people to always look at the candidates. Look at everything. See how people are before they got in. See what they have. I tell people all the time, listen, I don't have no arrest record. I don't have no records out there of me doing anything nasty. We have to know if we really are talking about people who are going to represent us. Are they really going to represent us, or do they have an alternate agenda?
That's right. That's right.
Because right now we're having too many people push the agenda of their name and not pushing the agenda of education and our children.
That's right. That's right.
And that's why we're in a predicament we're in.
That's right.
But at the same time, with this election, I always tell people you have to be informed voters. So I don't blame, just like with, and y'all gonna look at me half sideways, I don't always blame the Board of Education for everything, because we also have to hold our parents.
That's right.
And our children accountable.
That's right. Absolutely.
Just like we can't blame Harris and Trump, or we can't blame President Joe Biden or Barack Obama.
That's right.
Or former President Trump or former President Obama, excuse me, let me give them their respect for that title, that position they held. Vice President Harris, we also have to blame ourselves, because we will get up there and not be informed on the issues.
Absolutely.
Just because somebody make you smell good, feel good, look good, that's not always the truth.
That's right.
We have to be informed. But, again, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and let you get to this question.
Well, I only got but one more question, and just to let you know, we're not going to be voting for you because we live in Columbia County.
It really sucks.
But our heart is in Richmond County.
I appreciate it.
So that's why you're on here. We're still going to market the hell out of you.
I appreciate it.
So we're renting right now in Columbia County, but we plan to buy in Richmond County in the next coming years or so. But what does the future look like in the political landscape for Mr. Christopher Mulliens?
Truth be told, whether win, lose, or draw, I said this at a forum the other night, I'm resilient. If anything, I'm resilient. This is my third time running.
Okay.
I truly care about the kids. In some form, shape, or capacity, I'm going to still be advocating. I'm going to still always run the Freddie Mae Foundation. We're still going to mentor. We're still going to do those things. But in some form or shape or fashion, I'm still going to be an advocate and push towards better education for our students, as well as making sure our parents understand their rights,
Yep.
who they are, as well as who the children are and their rights. Because I think that we have given way to too much right now, and we just let people come in and make decisions for us and not know what's going on, and we have to stop that. And I tell people education is the key. Like you said earlier, it was some jokers back home, didn't have a high school diploma, they had a little GED, or they didn't even have that. But they gave me some sound advice and some wisdom because they understood the pitfalls of life, and they realized, man, I wish I could have got my degree, I wish I could have got my diploma. And they said, hey, youngster, ought to be like, hey, young Thundercat. Going out there, nephew, go and do your thing. But remember, the power is in education.
Yeah.
I don't care if you read a book. I don't care if you go out there and get a certification.
That's right.
I don't care if you go to a 4-year or 2-year college. Once you have that knowledge, nobody can take that away from you.
That's right. That's right.
Except Alzheimer's. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm sorry.
I don't feel bad. I want to say Bessie.
Well, we really, really enjoy having you on, man.
I enjoy being here.
And we are rooting for you, the best and everything.
I appreciate it.
We got a good feeling about it.
Yes,
Definitely
sir.
got a good feeling
I
about it.
appreciate it.
Hey, y'all check this young man out. He has nothing but positive vibes. He comes with a plan, not a concept of a plan. So that makes all the difference in the world. So from here on Onyx, we're out of here. Peace.